In the United States, the trial has got underway of a white former police officer accused of killing a black man, George Floyd. The prosecutor focused on Mr Floyd's final minutes, replaying video footage which showed him gasping for breath as the officer, Derek Chauvin, knelt on his neck. The defence argued that Mr Floyd's health conditions and drug use had contributed to his death. Our North America correspondent Aleem Macbool is outside the court for us now. Aleem.
Yes, and we've already heard from witnesses, but as you say, more importantly perhaps, we've got a real sense of how the legal teams are what they're going to focus on in the coming weeks. And from the Floyd family's lawyers, we got a sense that they were trying to say they're not anti-police as such, and they're persuading jurors just to look at the actions of this one police officer. Derek Chauvin's lawyers are going to try to persuade the jury that George Floyd would have died anyway, perhaps, even without that brutal interaction with the police.
This marks the start of what will be an emotional and fraught few weeks for the family of George Floyd. But the reminders have, of course, never gone away of the way he died.
We need justice. And I think throughout this whole trial, that's one word that you'll hear me and my family say a lot: justice. Somebody needs to be held accountable.
Do you swear or affirm that
the outrage the case sparked became an examination of systemic racism in the US? But prosecution lawyers started by bringing back the focus to the man seen here on the right.
This case is about Mr. Derek Chauvin and not about any of those men and women, and it's not about all policing at all.
This is when I started watching again.
They showed jurors new CCTV footage of the lead-up to George Floyd's death, as well as the full, infamous video that caused such distress.
The most important numbers you will hear in this trial are 929. What happened in those 9 minutes and 29 seconds when Mr. Derek Chauvin was applying this excessive force to the body of Mr. George Floyd.
In his opening statement, the lawyer for the former police officer defended his tactics.
Derek Chauvin did exactly what he had been trained to do over the course of his 19-year career. The use of force is not attractive, but it is a necessary component of policing.
But primarily they're also questioning one fundamental aspect of the death of George Floyd, as I heard from a lawyer for the city's police union.
The defense's main arguments are going to focus around whether or not Chauvin actually caused his death.
That is an argument that he would have died anyway.
Right. Yeah, and I think, well,
that for a lot of people who saw the video will sound ludicrous, frankly.
Well, the video isn't the whole story. It's a piece of the story. And that is what the jury will have to decide.
Well, these protests outside the courthouse are a reminder of the strength of feeling there was last summer, not just here, but all over the world. But what this case, one of the most important in recent US history, will come down to, of course, is the opinion of 12 jurors. Aleem Macbool, BBC News in Minneapolis.
Well, our North America editor, Jon Sopel, is in Black Lives Plaza in Washington. And John, this is going to be a critical moment for race relations in the United States.
Yes, Sophie, the court papers say it is state versus Chauvin, but the significance of what is unfolding in Minneapolis goes far wider than that. The saying goes that justice is blind, but in America, is it colourblind? If you're black, you're more likely to be pulled over by the police. You're more likely to be subject to excessive force. You're more likely to be charged. You're more likely to go to prison. Conversely, if you're white and a policeman and you do something wrong, well, then the scales of justice tip in the opposite direction. And so what is happening in America today in Minneapolis is, in a sense, the trial of the American justice system itself. And if Derek Chauvin walks free, there's going to be a very powerful sense that actually black lives don't matter. And at a time when America is bitterly divided, that could be an explosive moment.
Jon Sopel, thank you.